Hello, second grade, and welcome to the Holifield. I'm so glad you can join us today. My name is Keith Griffin. Before we get started, let's take a quick look at today's learning targets. Let's read the learning targets together. I can name the basic needs of plants and animals. I can model a food chain. All right, let's go find Mr. Taylor and see what he's up to.
Oh, hey there, second grade. It's Mr. Taylor from the Outdoor Learning Center. It's such a beautiful day that I thought I'd go for a walk in the woods. Hey, why don't you come join me? And let's learn about basic needs of plants and animals on our hike. Before we begin, let's be mindful that we are scientists. And as a scientist, we want to notice and observe the environment using our senses. We want to think about how our observations remind us of other things. And we may even have questions that we wonder about that may require asking an expert or doing research to find those answers. So as you can see, we are walking in an urban forest ecosystem. It is a community made up of a variety of plants and animals. Every plant and animal in this forest has certain basic needs that it requires in order to live, grow, and survive in this environment. But I wonder if every plant and animal has the exact same basic needs. Look down on the forest floor and we can see several acorns, which are the seeds of an oak tree. You may notice that this one has started to sprout, which means it must have received some of its basic needs. But what are the basic needs of plants? Well, to answer that question, think back to a time when you planted a seed to watch it grow. What were the things that you gave that seed? Did you plant it in soil? Did you water it? Did you put it in a sunny window? What else did you do to make sure that seed could sprout and grow? So every plant, from the smallest blade of grass to the tall trees in the forest, all have the same basic needs. They all require air, sun, soil, and water. But you're probably asking, what about food? Don't plants need food? Of course they do. But here's the cool thing about plants. They can make their own food through a process called photosynthesis by changing that sunlight, air, and water into sugars that they can use for energy. Hey, look there on the sunny side of the tree. It's a green anole. That's a type of lizard that lives here in North Texas. Lizards, like most animals, and even humans like you and me, require food and water to survive. But unlike plants, animals can't make their own food. They have to find it in their environment or hunt for it. I wonder what this little guy likes to eat. Along with food and water, another basic need of animals is a home or shelter from predators and weather. I wonder if this little guy lives here in this garden. I also wonder if I could take him inside the building and make him a home. I could probably provide all of his basic needs. What do you think? Let's ask Mrs. Kaywood if we could bring this little guy inside.
Well, while I know anoles are pretty cool, and I used to have one as a pet too, it's best to leave wild things in the wild. What we can do though, is I'm actually setting up a house for an anole that lives at the center right now. Do you want to watch? We have many different anoles that live at the center. Some of them live by themselves, while others live in pairs. This is an anole I came across outside last week. Do you notice anything different between her and the anole that Mr. Taylor saw? Not only is she brown, she also has a line down her back. This indicates that she's a female, while the anole Mr. Taylor saw was a male. As you can see, I have a glass aquarium here, and it already has some dirt in here for our anole friends. What else do you think they might need? I know when I see anoles in my yard, I usually see them on a plant of some variety. So let's see if we have any plants we can put in here for them. You probably noticed that our tank is kind of tall too. As anoles spend a lot of time in plants and in trees, they feel like they need a lot of space to move up and down in their environment. We have some plants in here, and that provides an important thing for the anoles. It provides shelter. It gives them a place to hide from predators, a place to climb up onto if they want to get some light, and a place to crawl around so they can move throughout their environment. What's another thing you think our anole might need? We also have a little bowl, and in this bowl, we're going to put some water. All living things need water, and anoles are no exception. Now, some animals don't always do a good job of drinking water out of things like ponds, or like we do out of glasses. So we also have our little spray bottle. This allows us to provide small droplets of water on the plant that the anole can then lick up. I wonder what else our friend needs. I know, anoles are carnivores. Do you know what carnivore means? Carnivores are animals that eat primarily meat, but I've never seen an anole eat steak. The meat they tend to eat are bugs, flies, insects, crickets, and all sorts of other little creepy crawly critters that they can find and fit in their mouths. So let's see if we have some bugs we can give them. I have some worms. So we're going to put this right down here in the dirt for our anoles. So that means our anoles now have space, water, food, and shelter. What else do you think they might need? Just getting some stock footage. I know. I remember Mr. Taylor saying something about sunlight. I know our anoles need sunlight too to be healthy. They get special vitamins from sunlight, and they need heat from the sun because they aren't able to stay warm without it like we do. But how do we bring the sun inside for our anoles? Well, we have a couple of very special kinds of light bulbs that we're able to keep on their tank to provide these important things for them inside. Look, our anoles have used the soil to lay an egg. Now that our anoles are safely in their new home, let's look at those basic needs that we tried to help them with. They now have space, water, food, shelter, sunlight, and air. Thankfully, we didn't have to do much extra to provide them with that last one. Hey, I just noticed something. Mr. Taylor started by looking at plants, and now we're talking about anoles. Let's go back again and take a look at how we got here. First, there was the acorns sprouting in the forest. And then we saw footage of some insects eating plants. After that, we got to see an anole eating a bug. Do you think there's anything that might eat an anole?
What a great question, Miss Kaywood. Let's review the food chain first. Our energy comes from the sun, and that flow of energy travels into our plants. They use a process called photosynthesis. The next flow of energy travels to herbivores when they eat the plants, like our cricket. When a carnivore comes along and eats the cricket, that flow of energy is transferred to the anole. What do you think might eat the anole? We might need to do a little more research.
Now, all of us here at the Outdoor Learning Center have an assignment for you. Go outside to a local park, or maybe in your backyard, and look and see if you can find a wild anole. Maybe they're basking in the sunlight, or hiding in the shelter of a few leaves.